Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Evan Abrams, and I'm joined, as always, by my better half, the one who's always with me in these types of shows. Love him to death. Brandon Anderson for some best bets for NFL Week 14. We will get to those bets shortly, but first, I usually give you multiple trends. Today, I'm just going to give you one fun thing because I think it really sets up the week well. It is at the top of my primer, so if you've read it, you're hearing it again. But the story of the 2025 season is simply one word, and it's parity. Entering Week 14, we have 17 teams listed below 50-1 odds to win the Super Bowl, which is the most we've had for any season dating back to 2010 entering Week 14. The previous high was 15 dating back to 2017. So, even if you go further, 12 teams, at least 4 games above 500, tied for the most in NFL history. All 12 of those teams are also under 50-1. So right now, it is an absolute mess and probably one of the more fun weekends we have in the NFL schedule that I remember in terms of just divisional matchups, the meaning of these matchups, first place. There's just so much fun stuff on the line. BA, what do you got to say about any of this?
Yeah, 17 is crazy. That's over half the league. That still insane. Has like a realistic 2% or better shot to win the Super Bowl. I know 2% doesn't seem like much, but there really aren't teams that are above like 10% right now for the most part. So you're right in range there. You're telling me there's a chance, basically. 17, there are only 14 playoff teams. So there are teams that are a week or two away from suddenly being like nearly eliminated from the playoffs that right now still have real Super Bowl hopes at this point, including the Chiefs, who everybody knows about the Chiefs. They're not even in the playoffs right now. The Lions, who have been favored for much of the season and in the mix a couple years in a row, they're not in the playoffs right now. Like, it's just a mess. We talked about it Sunday night. We had to kind of do the Thanksgiving weekend recap because all 3 Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game saw all the favorites lose. I think that was like 4 of the 6 preseason Super Bowl favorites all took the loss. So a lot of that is what's happening. It's keeping some of the underdogs alive. It's keeping those favorites down in the mix so that other teams feel alive. And yeah, this weekend's going to be fun. There are 2 games between the division first and second place where the division lead is up for grabs. There's another one Sunday night, Chiefs-Texans, that is basically a playoff game for the Chiefs at this point. So yeah, there are high stakes here and a lot of leverage, a lot of swings coming. For me as a bettor, especially as a futures bettor, that's exciting. This is opportunity. Like the parity equals opportunity, because if you can find the right team, if you can find the path, if you can pick the team you like, you're going to get some longer odds right now that probably wouldn't be there most years where the favorites have separated. So it's exciting. It's fun to be a fan, fun to be a bettor right now.
Between the Super Bowl stuff, and we didn't even talk about the awards, like everything is really tight with a few weeks to go. So this weekend should decide a lot, including maybe the Heisman Trophy, but that's a different podcast. All right, it is time to get to some NFL Week 14 best bets. If you want to tail some of these bets, look for the ClickSlip link in the podcast and video description, or go to actionnetwork.com/bet now. They'll all be listed there like usual. To me, I love that. That's the easiest, but you pick your best choice. Let's start with Brandon's pick 6. This is a moneyline parlay of 6 teams that BA puts on the site every week. Where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're back. We didn't have one for Thanksgiving week, so we're back this time all on the main slate on Sunday. 3 early games, 3 late games. There are a lot of big favorites. There are a lot of like right around a touchdown favorites this week. I took 5 of them out of my 6. So Seahawks, Bucks early, Broncos, Rams, Packers all in the late slate. And then the one shorter favorite, Miami on the road against the Jets. We'll get back to that one shortly. So all those touchdown favorites mean this is a pretty good teaser week. Pick the 2 that you like best out of there, and it's a pretty good teaser spot. Our 6 together come in around plus 410 on the parlay at DraftKings. And this is a tricky week. Like, people ask me a lot of times, send me a direct message or hit me up on Twitter. Hey, what about this team? Why aren't they in the pick 6? Did you think about picking them? Well, just to give an answer to that, I thought about picking everyone. Like, I looked at every game to narrow it down to 6. If a favorite is not in the pick 6, you should probably take that as like at least an orange flag. There's probably a reason I didn't pick that team, and you might find out in the best bets later. This week especially was tricky for me. Evan, I'm always the big trends guy. You and I both come with the trends. This week, I'm fading a lot of my favorite trends. I'm playing matchups this week. So We'll see tonight. I've got a ton of trends on the Lions. I'm staying away. I would lean Cowboys. By the time you listen, we'll see how that one looked. Joe Burrow as an underdog, a favorite spot on mine. I'm staying away. Jaguars home against the Colts, just like an auto bet most seasons. And then the big one, Tomlin versus Harbaugh, and you just take the underdog and the points. I'm not betting any of those things this week. All my favorite trend spots line up, and I'm kind of trusting matchups and going otherwise. We'll see how that turns out. Maybe I should be trusting the trends. We'll get to it in the picks.
Yeah, very excited for this weekend, to be honest with you. And the thing that's crazy, like behind the door a little bit here, we're recording this before Thursday Night Football. So the Cowboys are sitting there like 80-1 to win the Super Bowl at some books. They've got Minnesota at home next week. Like they could just be 2-0, add into their list in the next in these two games and be right in the race. So we will see what happens on Thursday Night Football. But after we just talked about all those amazing divisional matchups, let's, of course, start with the Dolphins and the Jets. What the heck are you doing here?
Yeah, going Dolphins. There's a reason I threw them into the pick six. And this is the kind of thing I just talked about. This is all about matchups. So Dolphins -2.5 on the road. And look, not a Jets hater. We bet the Jets both the last 2 weeks. We got our Jets upset last week, just not quite the Alts there. This is all matchup based to me. The Jets are the run heaviest team in the NFL. Even with Tyrod Taylor, they still lean very strongly that way. That's exactly what Miami's defense wants. Anthony Weaver's defense wants to invite the run. And this is all wrong for the Jets because Miami, they've got leftover dudes playing the secondary. Like they basically didn't even try when they built that part of their roster this year. They're 30th pass defense by DVOA, but they're good against the run. In fact, lately, they're great against the run. Last 6 games, they're the number 1 DVOA run defense. And on the season, they're top 7 overall there and top 7 overall defense the last 6 weeks. So this is not the team you want to be running against, but that is what the Jets are built to do. On the other side, Miami's offense, we kind of just stopped paying attention to this team, right? Like a few months ago, like, fire Mike McDaniel, get him out of here. They kind of rebuilt the offense, and they're more of a run-heavy team themselves. Achane has been looking great, ripping off explosives. And I think that this offense is going to find some movement too. Jets defense, bottom 5 against the run and the pass over the last 6 games. They don't get any pressure. Miami's not good handling pressure, so that's not going to be a problem. Miami runs the most motion in the league. Of course, that's Mike McDaniel. The Jets get killed on motion and play action. So this just sets up as all the wrong matchups for the Jets. Defense also for them has been way worse at home. I don't really know why, but they're the worst in the league DVOA at home this season defensively. And Miami's been better offensively early. So I think they get out ahead. And this is the spot where you actually want to back Tua and Mike McDaniel is as a favorite against a bad team. Like as a front runner, Miami's pretty good. We just have the bad taste in our mouth from all the times when they've been that and then played a real team. Well, the Jets aren't a real team, so this is a good spot. Miami has won 13 of 16 against the Jets. Last 5 games against them, they're averaging almost 29 points a game. So I'm going to take the Dolphins. Look, if this gets to 3, I did consider a few other angles. I looked at just the team total over 21.5. I wish it was 20.5. Like one spot lower, maybe. I just like to play better. And if you want to duck second half, Dolphins are 3-9 in the second half. The Jets have been a strong closing team. So if you want to just get your money and get out in the first half play, I don't mind that either. I'm just going to stick with the Fins. 2.5 points under the key number. I trust Miami to get the job done.
Yeah, 2 is 6-0 against the Jets, 16-8 ATS versus the AFC East. He usually performs well in these spots. The one thing, I mean, listen, outdoors, 40 degrees, not usually the situation I would tell you that we need to take Tua without Tyreek, but I do agree that this spot makes sense. You said it, but Miami, first quarter, second quarter, they're 15-9 ATS. Third quarter, fourth quarter, let's see if I can do quick math. They're 8-16 or 8-17, something like that. So completely exactly the way you did it. And to me, that's the way to go. I mean, it's either Miami first half or Miami full game. I think the full game will get there, but we shall see. All right.
You can do Miami halftime, full time, maybe would be a good way to go as well. And that's another way you might be able to avoid the line entirely. And to respond to the outdoor thing, because that did give me a little bit of pause. So I think Tua is 1-4 in what I call cold weather games in Bet Labs. I forget the cutoff, but I think it's about 40 degrees. Now, that's not great, 1-4 ATS in those games. However, think about who those games are against. One of them was in Green Bay. 2 of them are in Buffalo. There's one in Kansas City. Okay, you're playing Jordan Love and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in those games. Like, yeah, you're going to be the worst team and lose in those games. Is that Tua sucks in the cold, or is that just, yeah, those other teams and guys are pretty good and it's a road game for Miami? This is a road game, but this is not any of those guys. This is Tyrod Taylor. So I did consider that. I'm not comfortable, but I think that's part of why we're getting the line where it is too, with Miami. That's been the much better team. So I'll stick with Miami on this side, and had to rock the teal Dolphins shirt for it today too.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not just Tua that looks cold. Mike McDaniel looks pretty cold in those temperatures as well, but go Miami. Let's go to our next game here. Again, nothing fantastic, but we're just trying to give you winners. Bucks, Saints, what are you doing there?
Yeah, a couple of half plays here. I'm going to go first half Tampa on this one. -5.5 on the first half line. So this kind of goes well with the last pick. So last week we played Dolphins first half against the Saints. We avoided the second half collapse. We're going to run it back with the first half play here. We know we've done these stats how many times now with the Saints. They've only covered one first quarter all season. They're now 3-9 ATS in the first half, worst in the NFL. The Bucks are 8-4 ATS in the first half. And in case you forgot, Saints second half, 8-4 ATS. We saw that last week. We got our money. We got out with Miami. Miami didn't cover, but they did cover the first half line, so we got that win. That's where we're going here with Tampa as well. We bet this already on the hot read on the under. I do think this is kind of an ugly, low-scoring type game. It looks windy and rainy. So again, we don't love the high spread. We're chopping a few points off of what would be 8.5 on the full game, getting under the key number with the first half, 5.5 here. Saints defense has been pretty good, but lately, worse on the road this season, worse early in games, which again fits our first half trend. They're 26th by DVOA first half, 5th in the second half. So we're going to get our money and get out of there before the defense kicks in. Bucky is back. He looked good last week. Chris Godwin is back. Apparently Mike Evans is practicing. He's not going to play this week, but good for Tampa. I just trust the Bucks here. Kamara is a big loss for the Saints in this one. He's been really good against Tampa in his career. So instead, you get Todd Bowles' defense at home, Tyler Shuck on the road. Shuck's been pretty solid, to be honest, but rookie quarterback on the road against Todd Bowles, I'll feel pretty good about that. Buccaneers have won 6 of 7 against the Saints. If this is a pretty big game for them, even though it's just the Saints, if they win this game, they basically make it so that they can split Carolina, the 2 games they have coming up, and that still wins a division. So they can't lose this one because it's a division game, and that messes up all the tie breaks for them. So they got to do it. They're going to have to pay attention. And I do think grab this one now at 5.5. I think the line will rise. It's 8.5 full game. Teaser protection probably pushes that to 9.5, and that might push the first half line up as well. So Bucks first half -5.5 while it's still below that 6-7 range.
I see it at 4.5 at some spots with a little bit of juice. Do you prefer that, or do you want to take away the juice at under 5 at 5.5? Still under a touchdown.
Yeah, it probably depends on the juice. I'm not too worried about something landing on 5. That doesn't seem like a number that's going to stick out too much to me in a first half angle. So yeah, I think I would not mind if it's a significant difference. I wouldn't mind having to risk it landing on 5 to avoid that. So check your book, take the better number, how you like it.
Yeah, the only other thing I was considering here, and you had talked about, the Saints pass defense gives me like a little bit of pause. But again, so many targets on Tampa's side, even getting some people back from injury feels right. I was considering first quarter under 7.5. Like both these defenses pretty decent. I could see a few punts to start the game. Like these teams also played, I believe, a really low scoring game a few weeks ago. Like I completely am on the track. And that's why we liked the total when we talked about it, I don't know, a week ago or so. Yeah. I see the path there. Like I honestly almost see like a Bucks cover under game as a parlay option in this one. But yeah, completely agree there. Completely agree there. All right, let's keep rolling here. Broncos, Raiders. Again, not your favorite matchup, but a little bit of good stuff here.
Well, we're going to get to the interesting games too, but it's interesting to win money. And the flow makes sense here if you kind of follow along. So I'm going to go with another half play here, but second half this time. Broncos second half at the Raiders, -3.5. So we unfortunately watched this game already, like a month ago on a Thursday night, and it was awful. The Broncos won 10-7. It was terrible. Nobody could do anything. And Denver trailed in that game and came back to win. And you probably have the stat, Evan. Do you know that Denver has trailed in every game this season so far? They're 10-2, but they've trailed every game. I heard that the only other teams that have trailed in all 12 games to start a season, the best record of any team like that in NFL history was 7-5. Denver's 10-2 despite that. So 10 wins, only twice by more than one score, including they're only 4-2 on the road, and they haven't won by more than 4 points. And here they are, more than a touchdown favor on the road. So I don't want any part of that for a full game. I'm looking at second half. By the way, you can sometimes bet at some books team to win from behind. That seems like Denver is looking like a pretty good bet for this sort of game, possibly for that. Denver first quarter, bottom 5 DVOA offensively. They have not come out of the gates well. The Sean Payton's first 15 plays, it's just not working for them. Raiders defense, top 5 first quarter. So you don't really want this first quarter play. It's going to set up for the Raiders maybe to take a bit of a lead or hang around. But Denver, we know how to get there in the fourth quarter. The numbers back it up. And this matchup, even though Denver kind of struggled to get over the line by points last time, we've talked about how lucky they've gotten. They were the better team. And in this rivalry, we've had 5 straight years where a team sweeps the rivalry. So Denver won the first game. Team that wins usually wins again in this matchup. The Raiders, dead last DVOA the last 6 weeks. So they are not good. We know that. What I didn't realize, Denver is 3rd overall in that stretch. Their offense actually, by the underlying metrics, has been better than I've given credit for in this stretch too. Denver, offensively, I think can find some answers. And then just defensively, they're going to be all over this backfield. The Raiders can't block anybody. Like, this is sack city for the Denver in this game. Pressure rate, it's just, they're going to have no shot. The Raiders are bottom 5 success rate, bottom 5 explosives. Denver is number 1 in both of those. The Raiders prefer to go short attack passing. Denver is great against that. Honestly, I think Denver could roll, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them just win easily and actually cover a big spread here. Again, it doesn't seem like this is an important game. This is a sneaky important game for Denver. If they win this game against the Raiders, guess who the Raiders beat earlier this year? Way back in week 1, the Patriots. So Denver winning this game guarantees them a head-to-head tiebreak with the Patriots based on how all the different tiebreak stuff falls out because of that head-to-head win. So they're going to need this game. They'll be ready for it. Raiders second half spread, 3-9 ATS on the season. Denver 8-4, including 8-2 in wins in the second half. So Denver to have a lead and just kind of bleed things out and take care of business. Second half, -3.5. And then a little Raiders team total mine shaft too, just in case they really can't score. Under 10.5 is 3-1. They've already had that 5 times this season, including in that Denver game. So I will like that one there. And then the reason I put this right after the Bucs game, I mentioned teasers earlier. These two together is my favorite teaser this week as well. So let's do a 6-point teaser. Broncos full game down to 1.5. Bucs full game down to 2.5. Why do you tease? Because we're getting past all those key numbers. We skipped the 7 and the 6. We skipped the 3. It's a good teaser spot for both of those. I think this is my favorite teaser of the week. And both of these teams, too, the opponents, they really should just want to lose the game anyway. The Saints and the Raiders, they need quarterbacks. Give me the draft position and just get Bucs and Broncos over the line, even though I think they end up maybe both winning comfortably. Bucs, Broncos teaser as well. So Broncos, second half, and then that teaser if you like it.
I have a feeling you're going to look at the box score after this game, and Geno's sacks is going to be the telltale of how this game went. Like, if there's a lot of sacks on Geno's side, it's probably going to go under, and Denver's going to cover. If Geno can stay upright, which I feel like a lot of those sacks that you see week to week is Geno's fault, but it's also the line's fault. Like, I feel like it's a bit of a combination. He can't get out of the pocket. I completely agree with you that that's going to be an Achilles heel for how this game might go. I'll give you this one. So in Pete Carroll's last 2 seasons in the NFL, Raiders, Seahawks, his teams are 10-19 to their team total over. So, like, I feel like he is just struggling to get offense no matter what the situation is. And obviously there's been some changes there. Now, the thing that kind of worried me was, like, how Bo Nix played against, like, some of that zone coverage in their first meeting. Like, really didn't go well. I feel like there's going to be adjustments. So I do see some positives here for Denver. But again, it's the same Denver team we've been betting against every week against a Raiders team we don't want to bet on. So a bit of a tough situation, but I think you probably attacked it right. Hopefully we see a low-scoring kind of back-and-forth first half, which avails you a little bit of value here. The thing, I wouldn't want to take Raiders first half or Raiders first quarter or anything of that nature, which would be the opposite bet. So I think this is the right way to go.
Yeah, the zone thing does give me a little bit of pause. And look, again, if you're seeing me attack a half play, usually I'm explaining why only the half, why not the whole game. And at the high line here, not a comfortable spot because of the Bo Nix thing. You're never going to catch me looking to back Bo Nix where I can. I believe this maybe is the first time I've taken the Broncos anything the entire season, but I just think it's a good spot for them. And I can't see the Raiders having any success against Nick Bonito and just those guys. If Denver gets any lead at all, and now the pass rush just pins their ears back and coming at you hair on fire, like the Raiders are toast at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if this broke the 12-game streak and Denver maybe just led the entire way because Vegas couldn't put up enough points. But
yeah, could
hey,
be.
maybe we'll get a Carlson field goal to keep the streak alive. Bo Nix, 11-5 second half ATS as a favorite. 3-1 versus the AFC West. This feels like a decent spot. All right, let's keep going here. We got two more before the lightning round. Finally, a matchup to love. Packers, Bears. What are you doing in this one?
I'm going to take the Packers here, -6.5. Make sure you get it below the 7. And at first glance, like some of the other lines out here, I did think this line feels high. Honestly, my numbers think it's a touch high as well. The Bears are the 1 seed right now, of course, and extra rest, both teams. I do think, though, we talked about this. I think this could be the sell high spot for Chicago. They drop actually from the 1 seed all the way to the 7 seed if they lose this game. Wow. That's how tight the NFC is. So don't make too much about the 1 seed thing. They were great against the Eagles. I'm not taking anything away from that. But really, what else has the Bears team really proven so far? They have 2-2 against 500 or better teams this year. The only other win was Dallas way back in week 3 before Dallas was any good and their defense was horrendous. They got killed on the road in Detroit and at Baltimore. And here's another road test for them that, frankly, the Packers have absolutely dominated the rivalry. They've won 26 out of 30 games. And I know Aaron Rodgers was for most of those, but this is just that's 15 years of Green Bay dominance. The Bears did win, snapping an 11-game win streak, but it was week 18 last year against all the Packers backups. So that's one of the 4 wins Chicago finally got. And matchup-wise, this is the key for me. Explosives, both ways. Chicago has been the most explosive offense in the NFL, but the Packers defense does not give that up. They have other flaws, but they're second fewest explosives. The Bears attack deep early and often. Green Bay defends deep very well. If the Chicago doesn't get those big plays, can Caleb Williams on the road move the ball on long drives? I'm not convinced that they can against a top defense. And then on the other side, Jordan Love, it's Toyotathon season. He's ripping it down the field. And the Packers are top 5 explosive offensively, but the Bears defense is bottom 10 giving those up. They're bottom 3 EPA per play against the deep pass. Jordan Love attacking man coverage with those corners back, I think is going to have some opportunities down the field. Getting healthy in the receiving core a little bit, maybe even Jaden Reed back this week as well. And Chicago is trending up on the season, obviously. We've done a lot of Chicago talk throughout the year, but the Packers are still better on both sides. Offensively and defensively, they're just the better team. And at home in Green Bay, I think is key too. Bears defense, bottom 5 on the road for the season. Pretty good, pretty average at home. So not great. As far as the Packers, average on the road, number 2 DVOA at home. So big swing being in Green Bay here. I think that they get the win. And the escalator here, and now you're thinking like, well, is it the division? Whoever you like in the division? Probably. I've got Bears tickets. I've already bet the lines a couple of times. Like, I can't keep betting NFC North anymore. Here's the better escalator pick. If Green Bay gets the win here, they are right now, even without this game, they are the 3rd most likely team to be a top 2 seed in the NFL. The Broncos and the Patriots in the AFC, but Green Bay, before the Rams, before Seattle, is the most likely NFC top 2 seed. If you're a top 2 seed, if you win a lot of games and maybe even the 1 seed, you are in the mix for MVP. And Jordan Love, 19-1 MVP, is a big futures article I put out this week. We talked about Stafford. We talked about Drake May. Those teams are still vulnerable. Nobody's run away with this thing. And if Jordan Love keeps the Toyotathon stats going, 4 touchdowns on Thanksgiving, he has a chance here to beat the 1 seed. And then next week they play Denver. You could beat the 1 seed back-to-back weeks as Green Bay. I think you get some buzz there a little bit. So 19-1, I think is fully in play for Love to make a push. If Stafford may slip up a little bit, it's got to start with the win. Packers -6.5. They've covered that line all but one of their wins on the season. So I'm not going to be too daunted by the high line. And then one last stat here. When two teams play in December that are both 70% win rate or better, the favorite team is who you want. 35, 19, and 3 ATS, 65%. So they're covering about 2/3 of the time. And I think the Packers are the better team and will take care of business in Green Bay.
Yeah, usually the line tells the story, and anyone who's been betting for a while kind of understands what I mean by that. But I'll give you a stat nonetheless. So you look at this line and you say, kind of, wow, right? Like Chicago 1 seed, this, and that. So this is the largest line in December or later for a team with a 75% plus win percentage with their starting quarterback in division since 2016. So December or later, 75% starting quarterback in division. 2016 Dak against the Eagles. I mean, that is how long ago it has been since we saw a team this good record-wise. And honestly, forget the record. Like they're putting up good numbers kind of across the board. The defense is playing all right. Caleb's staying away from some stupid throws sometimes. The run game looks fantastic. Like a lot to like here. So I think the line tells the story. Now, you mentioned it with Toyotathon. Same with LaFleur. I mean, he's 20-4 in December. A lot of good things there. Won, I believe, like a bunch in a row at that point. At home, LaFleur's 10-1 straight up in December. 10 days to prep, he's 4-0. All the numbers kind of tell you the story. The other thing I'll say is this, and it's kind of a similar story to Geno Smith as it is here with Caleb Williams. I think you need to continue to focus on the sacks. If he gets sacked 4 times, if he gets sacked 5 times, I think Green Bay is going to do their job. The Bears, let's see what it is. I'm trying to last 2 seasons, I believe, 11-5 when he gets sacked fewer than 2 times or fewer, and 3-10 over that mark. So to me, keep Caleb upright, no dumb throws, and they should do well. But I think I like the Green Bay side of this with you because I think they're going to sack him. I think they're going to get to him and they're going to stop the explosive plays. But sacks to me, the key one here. All right, you ready to keep going?
Let's move.
All right. One more here before we get to the lightning round, and it's a doozy. Sunday Night Football is going to be awesome. Texans, Chiefs, You got the best defense in the NFL, basically, going up against Mahomes, and both teams in a must win. Where are you going?
Yeah, I gave out the under 43.5 on the hot read. I'm just going there again. Even though it's down to 42 now, I still like the under if you have not played yet. And I also am using this to kind of get to my other big futures play that I put out this week. So honestly, it's a tough matchup for the Chiefs. I'm backing Chiefs futures. We'll get to that in a second. But the Texans are playing really well. Their defense we know is awesome. Their offense has trended up to at least kind of average now. And the Chiefs are missing their offensive line. Both tackles are out. Trey Smith looks like he's out again. Houston last year played them twice, 27-19 and 23-14. They lost both of those, but they kind of hung around and gave the Chiefs a real game. So this is going to be a tough game. Sunday night, this is a playoff game for the Chiefs, and they could lose. Like they could be basically down to like 10% to make the playoffs when we next record, Evan. So this is a real thing for them. I still like under. Talked about it on the last podcast, but some of the trends that stick out, primetime unders since 2019, 61%. Unders between 39 and 44 in the line drops, 55%. And then Houston, 9-3 to the under this season, best in the league. Chiefs, 8-4 to the under, just behind. This is just Texans defense against all those offensive line injuries, going to be able to slow down the Chiefs enough. And the Chiefs really kind of prefer to play slow and methodically anyways. And home unders for Mahomes has been a thing as well. So I like the under, but I'm still investing in the Chiefs. And I'm counting on Mahomes to find a way here. Why can I believe in the Chiefs Sunday night? Few reasons I found. Houston, bottom 10 EPA against the blitz. Spags is going to blitz you, man. He's coming. So the Chiefs blitz has not been great, but it's going to test them there. Houston also, as good as they are defensively, terrible in the red zone. Like they are bottom 5 red zone, and the Chiefs have moved the ball. They just can't finish drives. Maybe they finish with a couple touchdowns this week where they don't normally. Chiefs defense also way better at home, so big home advantage here for them. And the Chiefs, this is a playoff spot. They're extra rest. They're off a loss. This is it for them. They got to have it. And I think, honestly, there's a chance this could be the most the Chiefs are pushed until the AFC Championship game. And that's why I'm also playing Chiefs to win the AFC plus 950 and a little bit on the Super Bowl ticket at 18-1. This now finally, I think, is the time to invest in Chiefs futures. And here's the real reason. It's not that the Chiefs are amazing. I think the Chiefs are good. I think their metrics tell you they're as good as, maybe better than last year's team. But what I love is they've been mid enough to accidentally lock themselves into this path where they can only be in the bottom of the bracket. They really can only be the 6 or the 7 seed now. Well, guess what? The top of the bracket's pretty locked now too. In some order, it's Denver or New England. So we've been talking about, I don't trust those teams at the top. Who's the sleeper? Well, how about the one who has to play both of them to start out the playoffs? If they're the 7 seed, they've got to play one of those teams first probably. And if they win, then they play the other one the next round. Okay, I'm going to like Patrick Mahomes against Bo Nix. Spoiler alert. If you've ever listened to anything I've said, not a surprise to you. I'm going to like him fine against Drake May, but with a way better roster around the quarterback in Kansas City. And then you got Ravens-Bills, the most likely playoff game. That's locked into the other side of the bracket. So those teams are away from the Chiefs until the AFC Championship game. Chiefs got to beat somebody. The Texans are tough. But if they get this win, which they're going to need it for the bet probably, the Texans maybe don't make the playoffs. So that's just kind of eliminating one of those teams that's a bigger threat right now. Put the Jaguars in or the Chargers, someone else that will be a better matchup for the Chiefs. So I just think the path is set up really well for them. You can read my article about it. But Chiefs futures, AFC is my favorite, plus 950. There is a world where they get to beat those Broncos and Patriots games, and suddenly you're sitting on a plus 950 money line, an AFC Championship game where, may I remind you, Mahomes has never missed in his career getting there, and I'm not ready to give up on it yet. I still think they can get it against the Texans, so I'll take the under in the game, but I'm taking Chiefs futures and giving them one more shot here.
18-1 to win the Super Bowl, not a price you would really ever see with Mahomes. So I can understand where you're looking from. To go back to your under point, I'll give you 2 stats. So Mahomes 47-29 at home to the under in his career. Here's the crazy one. If he goes under this week, he will be the most profitable quarterback since 2005 at home to the under. 270 AQBs. It's Pat Mahomes at 47-29. And the crazy one is when he faces a team above 500 at home, since 2022, he's 15-3 to the under. All KC wants to do, run the ball, end the game. That's how they play these games against really good teams. So we will see if that continues. All right, lightning round time. You've got some player props, some escalators, just a fun round all around. So let's start with a tight end. What are you doing?
Yeah, Jaguars Colts, another one of those really big games, AFC South playoff picture. I can't really get a read on the game. Kind of a toss-up to me. Home team has won 14 out of 15 in this rivalry. The Colts have covered only 3 of the last 20 against Jacksonville. So good luck figuring that out. I'm going with tight ends. I think this is a good game for both tight ends. Warren's fading a little bit since the start of the year, the rookie for the Colts. I like Brenton Strange, so I'm going to take his over 39.5 receiving yards here. Both these defenses are top 4 in tight end yards allowed. The Colts are bottom 10 by DVOA against the tight ends, top 5 fantasy points allowed. They've allowed 34 yards or more 10 times to a tight end already. We need 40, so right in range there. And who would have thought at this point of the season, with Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, who would have thought Jacksonville is all about Brenton Strange and Jacoby Myers? That's where all the passes are going these days. And Strange was kind of breaking out to start the season. First 4 games, 4.8 catches, 46 yards, 6 targets a game. Then he got hurt. Well, now he's back, and he kind of picked up right where he left off. 4 catches, 69 yards a game. The last 2 games, 5 targets a game. He's had only 6 healthy games this season. He's over 39.5 in all but one of those. Ironically, the only miss was against Cincinnati, the team that can't stop a tight end to save their lives. So I don't know what happened there, but I think this line is too low. Actually, he's had 59 yards in 3 of his 6 healthy games, so half of those. So we'll take the over 39.5, and then we'll go 60 yards plus 240 as a little strange things escalator. How about that?
Yeah, you had mentioned the DVOA stuff, like Colts suck versus the tight ends. But what I like seeing the most is since he came back from injury, he's 3rd in routes in the last 2 games. 3rd in one game, 3rd in the other game. So he's out there a ton. And what I love seeing as well, not in his last game. 9 routes from the slot, 5 out wide, 16 in line. They are moving him around, and they are doing anything possible to try to get him in an advantage position. So 39.5 kind of feels a little low here. And I picked him up in fantasy this week, so let's go. All right, let's keep going here. James Cook, you got to be going with the rushing, right? What else are you doing there with him?
Yeah, Bills-Bengals on any other season would be like the game of the week. And this is like our 5th or 6th most interesting game on Sunday. And look, first shot here, auto bet on Burrow, right? The big underdog. I missed the shot last week. Burrow 18-3 ATS as a 3-point dog or more, wins these games outright. I just don't like the matchup. I'm trusting matchup here, and it's why I'm going to get to James Cook in a second. Bills are the best offense at home this season. The Bengals have been way worse on the road. We don't know still if T. Higgins is going to play here. And I think, honestly, the Bengals are probably too cheap for this, but I have in my notes, I think this is the game that finally gets the Bengals coaching staff fired. The Buffalo Bills defense is bad against motion. They're bad against play action. Doesn't matter. Cincinnati doesn't do any of that crap anyways. Cincinnati plays the most base personnel, 11 in the league. Buffalo is number 4 EPA per play against that. Like, you got to mix it up and do some other stuff to beat this defense. That's not what Cincinnati does. The Bengals face the most too high safety in the league. That's where the Bills live. Too high safety. They're 3rd in EPA per play. Bengals are 30th on offense, EPA per play against too high. That is not what they want, but they don't have offense creativity to get out of that. They're going to take a lot of pressure in this game. And I think that the Bills dominate the way they did last week and the way they did against the Chiefs, which is by running the ball. Both teams should be able to run the ball in this game. Other than the Giants, these are the worst 2 run defenses in football. However, the Bengals don't know that because the Bengals just have Burrow playing shotgun and don't do creative stuff. And the Bills finally learned and are willing to say, you know what, Josh Allen, you don't need to be the MVP this week. We got a second guy that can do that for us. James Cook, go get the win for us. We talked about it last week. Allen was under 2 yards average depth of target. They just pounded the ball with Cook all game long because Buffalo's tackles are both hurt. And you might think, okay, if the line is banged up, why would I want a running back? Well, it's easier to run block. Run block is forward. Pass block is backward. So if you get to run block, you protect your line and you let the running back and the line be themselves better, especially against Cincinnati with no Trey Hendrickson, no way to hurt them there. You pound the ball, running the ball, and that helps protect you. This season, the Bills are 6-0 when James Cook has 19 or more carries. Now, is that chicken or egg? I don't really know. Doesn't matter here. They're 2-4 when he has less than that. The 2 wins have been these wild shootout wins. So when Buffalo runs and plays power football, that's the good Buffalo. That's the version that could make a run in January. When they get away from that and try to get into a shootout, it does not go well for them. In those games with 19 carries or more, Cook is averaging 23 rushes, 144 yards, 6 games, 6 touchdowns, 108 yards in all of those. And look, both these teams should want long drives, keep the opponent quarterback on the sidelines, but only Buffalo actually does that. So the Bengals, we know how bad their run defense has been. They've allowed 14 carries or more 10 times this season, 93 yards or more 6 times, 125 yards or more 3 times. We had like a month ago, I wanted my Bears running back overs against the Bengals. We missed it because Swift was hurt the last second. Cal Monanga had the biggest game of the season against Cincinnati, 26 for 176. I'm not missing it again. The lines are priced in here because they know the Bengals defense is terrible, but we're playing it anyway. Last Buffalo wins. Here's the last 4 times that they've won a game. Cook has had last week 32 rushes, 144 yards against the Steelers. That Chiefs game, 27 for 114. Against the Panthers, 19 for 216 yards and 2 scores. I just think this sets up as kind of a proxy for a Bills win. If the Bills win, why? It's probably because James Cook did it, which is a weird thing to say about Buffalo. So I'm taking the escalator all the way. Start with the rushing yards, 95.5. Just that's the line, but we're playing it. The Bengals allow 153 a game. And then rather than attempts, when he has 20 attempts, he's getting big yardage. And it's the Bengals. If he gets 20 carries, 25 carries, he's going to get the yards. The Bengals are not going to have to stop him. So 120 yards plus 235, 140 yards plus 475. And a couple other things here. 28 carries at DraftKings is plus 1360. In case he gets that huge number, he's done that twice already. Well, off by one against the Chiefs, but we'll get in play there. And I think he could still take the rushing crown too. He's only 54 yards behind Jonathan Taylor. We talked about the Colts' upcoming schedule being brutal down the stretch. Cook is 3-1 at one book to lead the league in rushing yards. This is the spot. You're not getting it after this because if he has a big game, he'll probably be the leader and you won't get that number anymore. So Cook, escalator, 95 and up, 120, 140, all the Cook. This is me betting on Buffalo, winning with the new version of what they've become. And I think that they kind of deliver the knockout blow to the Bengals this week.
You're betting on Buffalo being smart, which we've won and lost before. Like the right thing to do here is to run the damn ball and to run the damn ball a lot. So then Burrow doesn't have the ball. Like it's very simple what the right thing to do in this Buffalo game is to most likely win. And this is it. So, and listen, I'll give you a few more numbers, but everyone kind of knows where I'm going with this anyway. Most yards allowed on ground before contact. The Giants is the worst in the NFL. Then it's the Bengals. And then to me, this stat basically says everything you want to know about why you should be betting what you're betting and why they should be doing what you're betting, which is stuff rate, percent of rush attempts, runner stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage. Cincinnati's at 13%, worst mark in the NFL by about a full percentage point. So it's like at this point, they're not stopping anybody, and they're also not even getting to the defender till 3 yards downfield. So if Buffalo doesn't run the ball a ton in this game, it's their own loss. And honestly, I feel like the loser of this should lose their head coach, but it's not going to happen in Buffalo, and it's probably not going to happen in Cincinnati. I just don't like either of them very much, but that's the angle. I'm on it with you. But all right, let's keep going here. You're looking at a tight end. The question is, which one?
Yeah, we're playing a lot of tight ends this year. We're going back to Kyle Pitts. We tried him a couple weeks ago on the receptions escalator. Didn't go, but we're trying it again. Run it back against the Seahawks. We played it against the Saints. 2 catches, 25 yards. Didn't go well. My dude couldn't catch the ball that game. Like, he still led the team in targets. Just kept dropping it all game. 3 games now with Kirk Cousins. Pitts has led the team in targets all 3 games. And yeah, Drake London has been out, but looks like he's out again. Kirk is going to be trouble in this game with all the pressure, but maybe Darnold too, kind of a weird game setup. I think Kirk is going to look to his tight end, just like he usually does here. Seattle, as good as their defense is, 29th by DVOA against tight ends. They've allowed the 7th most tight end fantasy points, the 3rd most receptions. Even weirder, they're number 1 defending the middle by DVOA. So that's where you'd think a tight end normally lives, but they're kind of bleeding against the tight ends that are the Kyle Pitts type, the guys that split out wide and play more like a receiver. Last 10 games for Seattle, 2 of those games, the opponent's tight end 1 was hurt either before or during the game. Here's the receptions they allowed to the other tight end 1s. 6, 7, 4, 9, 4, 9, 6, and 6 catches. So 8 times, 6 catches or more in 6 of those, 6.5 catches a game. So Pitts, we're going back with the receptions. The line is 4.5, but it's juiced to minus 160. I'm going to skip that and go straight to the escalator. 3 games now with Cousins. He had 7 catches for 82 last week. He had 9 for 59 earlier. That matches career high. So I'm going to play split between 6 and 7 catches. 6 is plus 135. 7 is plus 250. And then a little touch on 9 catches in case he matches that career high at 9-1. Kyle Pitts has been burning people for the entire career in the NFL and fantasy. I'm going to give him one more shot here, and then I might be done with him too.
The thing I do like about those 2 Kirk Cousins games that he had with Pitts, so you mentioned 9 and 8, but he's also got 9. So he had 9 targets, 9 catches. Then he had 8 targets, 7 catches. That is pretty impressive. When Cousins is going his direction, he's getting him the ball, Pitts is catching the ball. Now, the other thing is this. Since week 7, 21% target share, 5th among tight ends. He is getting a lot of the balls. And even if Drake London happens to be back this week, I still think Pitts will see the ball, will see targets. And we talked about this with Brenton Strange. And you just mentioned it. They're moving him around a lot. You're seeing wide, you're seeing slot, you're seeing inline. Like they are doing whatever they can to try to find Kyle Pitts, which God, we would have loved that a few years ago, but thank God it's happening now. So, and the other thing is this, Seattle, really good versus the run, which is exactly what Atlanta wants to do. So my hope is Raheem Morris kind of shifts that a little bit when he sees the numbers, sees the percentages, sees the efficiencies, and says, all right, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. Like, we should maybe change it up a tiny bit to try to keep us in this game, because Seattle's run defense is really extraordinary and probably something you'd want to avoid a little bit in this one. Maybe you get Bijan Robinson in some receiving as well. So we will see how that goes, but completely on the same page here. It is Kyle Pitts season in December. Didn't think I'd be saying that. All right. Escalator season. We love those. What are you doing there?
Rams, Cardinals. Look, on the surface, this feels like a Cardinals spot, but I'm going to do a Rams escalator. We talked about this. Arizona's had so many close losses all year, but in November, they lost by 19 to the Niners, by 22 to the Seahawks. How about complete the trifecta in the division? Because when they face a really good team, things can get away. And I'm not worried about the Rams. We talked about that on Sunday. They on paper, they blew out the Panthers. They just also had the huge turnover plays and the big defensive plays, but they had a 22% net success rate advantage. They're fine. And the Rams have dominated this rivalry in particular. They've won 14 out of 17. And in those 17 games, almost a decade, only one game closer than 7 points. So I'm not going to be intimidated by the high line here. And out of those 14 Rams wins, over half, 8 of them, by 17 points or more, including they've won by 22, 23 twice, 27, 33, and 34. So that's almost half of the Rams win in the stretch that have come by at least 22 points. Cardinals offense worse early, defense trending down. Rams are best in the league success rate. Cardinals defense bottom 5. I just think this sets up for a spot where the Rams could do what they've done against a lot of teams. Get on the board early, get the lead, and it just gets away from them. This could be a good Stafford MVP bounce back spot as well. The Rams already have this year 5 wins by 2 touchdowns or better, including 24, 27, 28. So get ready. We're taking the escalator all the way. Start with minus 13.5. It's plus 168. So to win by 14. And then we'll say win by 17 plus 240, by 21 or more plus 425. That's the main push, but we're not done. 2 more touches. Minus 26.5 is 8-1. And then win by 31 or more, 13-1. Just in case this really gets away from the Cardinals. They've been good on the back door. We'll have to hope that the Rams can slam the back door closed, or we're not going to hit these super high ones. But I think this is a spot where the Rams are going to come out mad after what they gave away last week. And again, division game, they're going to need this one to stay on top of where they're looking to get in the NFC. I think they get the job done with plenty of room to spare.
McVay likes himself some Toyotathon as well. Really good in December. 26-11, 25-11 and against the spread as well. He's won 8 in a row. This is the one I like the most. As a road favorite in Arizona, he's 6-0 straight up ATS. And as a road favorite in Arizona or Seattle, he's 9-0 straight up. Obviously, he has his trouble with Shanahan. He has his trouble with San Francisco. But a decent spot in this one. And to me, this is a little bit of a weird one where like the MVP and the Heisman are kind of running where it's like a very tight race. To me, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to keep Stafford in the game to kind of run up the score a little bit, throw him an extra touchdown or two. Obviously, they have a lot more to come, right? Like that you don't want to get Stafford hurt, but I think there is a fun middle line between McVay being like, this is the game to maybe pump those stats a little bit. I think he wants him to win the MVP. Like Matthew Stafford is a heck of a storyline for someone who's been in the league for so long, who's had this success. He's the All-American boy, and I think we want to give him the award. He just needs to continue to do what he's doing, and you know, obviously Drake May is a good story as well, but I see the vision. I'll give you one stat and then we can move on to the last one here. Since 2015, teams after losing as a 7+ point favorite, 83-58 ATS. So I see the vision with the Rams in this one. All right, last one before the look ahead. Oh boy, this one is fun. So Cleveland and Tennessee is the game. You know the over-under. The question is, what the heck are you doing with it?
Yeah, there's no way we were not playing the worst football game of the season. Titans-Browns, you know we're going under 34.5, and we're taking the mine shaft. I got like 5 or 6 bets to get to on this game. The only way to make a terrible game even terribler is to just bet the heck out of it with all sorts of goofy stuff. So obviously, these are 2 of the worst offenses in football. You don't need much analysis for that. This total is ridiculously low. I tweeted out early on Sunday, we're at 34.5. Can you believe that's the total before the games? Then we watched these teams play, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's too high. We should have set the total lower. We're getting freezing temperatures. We're getting windy conditions. Windy under 62% last 4 seasons. So Cleveland, shooter honestly hasn't been terrible so far, but hasn't really done a lot. He had 1 real touchdown drive against the Niners, 10 plays, 90 yards. Okay, we'll give you credit for that one. Against the Raiders, 3 touchdowns, but all 5 plays or less. Like they had 1 from like the 2-yard line. They had 1 broken screenplay, and it's the Raiders. So Titans defense, maybe best of those 3, honestly, now that they're healthy up the middle. I think they can hold. And then, of course, Browns defense at home. We know how good they are. Titans dead last versus too high. That's what the Browns play a lot of, and they're best in the league at it. Titans dead last against pressure. Myles Garrett sack record. He's coming for it. Titans are last in the league in points per game at 14.2. They scored 3 last week. How in the world are the Titans scoring on the road in Cleveland? I don't really know. Their team total is set at 15.5. That seems crazy low. They've gone 14 or below in over half their games this season. Like they cannot get any points this year. So here's the thing. When a total gets this low, history tells us it can't go low enough. Totals at 37 or below since November 2019, 42, 22, and 1 to the under, 66% under. Since 2012, 36 or below totals, 17 and 7 to the under, 71%. Like the lower the total goes, the more under it gets. The Browns already have 8 games this season below 40 points, 5 games that would go under this number, 34 or below. So I'm going to take the under 34.5, but I'm still going in those games at 36 or below. So 24 games since 2012. In 16 of the 24, so 2/3 of them, the losing team topped out at 10 points or less. And in 9 of the 24, 38% of them, the losing team scored single digits. All right, so both teams to score 10 points. No, plus 250. You can bet that at DraftKings. You can find that at most books. You're looking at which team to score 10 first. You can just bet neither of them. Or you can do that one, what I just said. Neither team to score 10 points. How about a really ugly game? 28-1 on that one. That's going to be really low scoring, but we'll take a shot. Cleveland to get a shutout. 16-1 at DraftKings. The Titans got shut out already this year, and they almost did last week. They scored a field goal against Jacksonville. Cleveland, in their wins, has allowed 10, 10, and 6 points. So they're getting pretty close. This is a pretty good spot for a shutout win. And then a little fun, because if nobody's going to score, that's the bets we have. But if someone scores, who's it going to be? Well, first of all, if you want nobody to get a touchdown, that's 40-1. You have my blessing if you want to do that in this game. We don't get too many games like that. But if somebody does score, you already know who I'm taking. It's Quinshon Judkins, the one guy who's the running back against the Titans. We've been betting all season. Titans have allowed 14 running back touchdowns, second most in the league. They've allowed at least 1 all but 2 games. I think the weeks we bet them, to be honest. Judkins in Cleveland's wins, 6 touchdowns and 3 wins, at least 1 every game. He's only had 1 touchdown, all their other losses combined. So Judkins is almost even odds for a touchdown at -110. And then even better, one last bet here for you. Give me the Judkins touchdown and the under 34 plus 375, because they have to price in this extra boost there, because there's just not many touchdowns to go around. Hopefully Judkins gets the only one and get out of here. Maybe Tennessee doesn't score at all. We can hit a bunch of these bets here. This game is awful. I don't want to see it on my red zone screen for 1 second. And the less I see it, the better our bets are doing. Let's have some fun and bet against Titans Browns doing anything useful.
Yeah, so some numbers behind the number. So since the start of 2010 season, this would be the 3rd lowest total in an outdoor game in freezing temperatures. Freezing temperatures outdoor, 3rd lowest total since 2010. We had 32.5 last in 2022 Saints Browns. That was a 17-10 final. And then, of course, the 28.5 we had with Jets and Patriots in 2023, a 17-3 final. So exactly what Brandon's saying. And then I looked this up because a lot of these low totals kind of are Cleveland, and they're usually Cleveland at home. So 8+ mile-an-hour winds, which we've got about 10 right now, when Cleveland's at home, and the total is under 37, which very key number when you start to go down, is 19, 10, and 1 to the under, going under by 2.8 points per game. So again, exactly the way we're talking about. And when you say 19 and 10 and one to the under by 2.8, it's like, okay, whatever. Except those totals are like in the mid 30s, some of those. So those 2.8 points are pretty valuable. Now, the one bet you didn't say that I want to add to your list, since listen, you've already got 5, you might as well take 6, would be the under in the game. And I want Judkins to score 2. Like, there's plenty of room for touchdowns in this game. I think he can get 2 very easily if he gets 1. And the price you're talking about for 1 in the under is $375 on DraftKings right now. You do 2, it's 20 to 1. Sign me up.
I'm in for it. Judkins has had multiple scores, I think, in 2 of Cleveland's 3 wins. So let's do it again. We played it on the previous one, which was another really ugly one. So let's get another ugly one. Let's add it to the list. You're allowed on Red Zone for 2 times. 1 play each, Judkins touchdown. Then get off my screen.
Yep, and Scotty's going to make a joke about it. It's going to be 14-0. The game will end, and it'll be fantastic. All right, look ahead to Week 15. Holy mackerel, it's Week 15. What are you doing?
Yeah, another under to finish us out here. Chargers at the Chiefs, under 45.5. So we're going to see these games play. The last 2 games of the week this week. Sunday night, Chiefs, Monday night, Chargers. We'll preview that one for you when we next convene on Sunday. So we talked about Chiefs, Texans. We like the under. Spoiler, I'm going to give you the under when we get to Chargers and Philadelphia. That's my pick for that one as well. So I think both these games are going to be low-scoring, kind of slog-type primetime games because both offensive lines here are in shambles. Each team is missing both of their tackles. That's never great this time of year. Chargers offense has been fading pretty badly. Bottom 10 DVOA the last 6 games. And then we don't even know what Justin Herbert is right now. He has surgery in his left hand. It looks like he's hoping to play, but we don't know if he will this week. They're probably going to have to kind of adjust the handoffs, maybe more shotgun, a little different than you used to. We don't know if he'll play next week either, or does he play this week but gets re-injured, and now we get Trey Lance next week. Anything like that, anything less than Herbert full speed only helps an under here. And even without that, this is just the script, similar to Chiefs-Texans like we talked about. Both coaches prefer low scoring. Both coaches are conservative. They want to just have long drives, low scoring type games. Chiefs 8-4 to the under on the season. And then we talked about these stats, you and I both earlier. Mahomes home unders, most profitable quarterback in our system, 38, 21-1 to the under, 64%. And you had the number even better as a favorite. So great spot to back Chiefs unders. Week 14 forward, division unders start to pop as trends. Here's a couple that stick out. For a home favorite, under 7 points, 56% to the under, and total at 43 to 47, as this one is right in the middle, 57% to the under. So I think this is an under game. Last 5 matchups, Chiefs-Chargers, 36.8 points a game. So at max points is 48. We're barely below that number here at 45.5. We're about to end the week this week watching Houston and Philadelphia, maybe the 2 best defenses in football, attack these no offensive lines and make these offenses look not great in prime time. There's only one way this total is going to go. Already some 44s at some books. 44 and below starts to hit key numbers all the way along the way. Give me the under 45.5 before it starts moving that direction.
Yeah, I love it. And I feel like that's just too high. Like by the time everyone starts paying attention to that game, I guess it depends what we see this weekend as well, but I feel like that's going to get bet down too. All right, that'll do it here on the Action Network podcast for our NFL Week 14 Best Bets episode presented by DraftKings. If you want instant notifications when action experts track their bets, go to actionnetwork.com/pro. Use the promo code POD20, POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. If you haven't yet, check out our new AI Quick Slip bot on X. Just tag Playbook, @Playbook. Tell it to grab whatever bets you're looking for, and it'll create a Quick Slip link for you in a matter of seconds, and then you can choose any bet, any book you like in that scenario. And again, if you want to tail some of the bets we gave out today, make sure to look for the Quick Slip link in the podcast and video description, or go to actionnetwork.com/bet now. We will be back Sunday night for our NFL recap show. It'll be live on Action Network's YouTube page shortly after Sunday Night Football. Chiefs, Texans, thank you for listening. Enjoy the slate, and good luck with all your bets this weekend, everyone.